Hello, namaste, and welcome to my channel. I am your host Nagesh Deshpande. We are bringing a new episode today, and this episode is all about failed agile transformation. Today, we are going to discuss about why agile transformation fails and what will be the impact of it on your career. To speak on this topic, we have a new speaker, Raghavendra, and he is going to put more light on this discussion. So let's welcome Raghavendra.
Hi Nageshi, Namaste.
Namaste. How are you?
Yeah, I am doing good. It's been a while we met.
Yes, yeah.
How are
So,
you doing?
yeah, I'm doing good. So,
Yeah,
almost a year ago we discussed, right? More than that,
yeah.
maybe.
More
Yeah.
than that, yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, yes, to my audience, we have discussed previously. We had one episode with Raghavendra, and meanwhile, what I will do is I'll ask Raghavendra to introduce himself. So, can we have a short introduction, Raghavendra?
Yeah, sure, Nageshi. Thank you. Yeah. So I am Raghavendra VNS, and I totally have 13 years of experience in IT industry, and I'm from Bangalore. I started my career as a QA engineer and then transitioned into automation engineer and then transitioned to Scrum Master role. And it's been like 1.5 years now. I'm working as a technical product owner in my current organization. So I've been working with multiple agile teams till now, and I've been part of multiple frameworks, methodologies, transformation journeys, all that. So yeah, that's about me.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So plenty of experience, plenty of transformation he also did in his career. So great. And let's hear from him now. So let me ask you one thing. I want to hear that why do so many agile transformation fail even after they have investment heavily in it?
Yeah, so basically, what I felt about this particular thing was um, whenever we hear anyone hear about agile, so it will give some kind of thinking in their mind, like we are going to change something the way
Mhm.
we are working. So that's first thing which comes into mind,
Correct.
and also what we have to follow in order to transform into the current state to agile state. That's where we have a lot of methodologies in agile, so which will come into picture what we have to follow. And like when we want to shift from a waterfall methodology or a transformation from waterfall to agile, we try to bring in some kind of experience or expertise from outside into the organization to make sure we take that person ideas and also try to take a lot of tools which can help us to drive this. But overall what happens is we still fail most of the times. The reason would be like many things. So we try to implement more of the ceremonies which we have in Scrum. Let's say Scrum as an
Correct.
example. We
Correct.
try to follow ceremonies more than we try to see the value which is coming out of. So like one example, if I can say, uh, we try to ask the team to participate in stand up very frequently every time, which is kind of a time boxed event. Sometimes that time itself is so important to make sure we are trying to um, you know we are trying to basically enhance some of the feature, or we try to accommodate that particular time in different way, where we can bring value out of the application. So that's where we try to have a framework implemented rather than understanding the outcome. So I think
Correct. Yeah.
that's one of the peak basic thing which I think it will cause to failure, I would say. One of the
Correct.
example I am
One
just
of the
sharing that.
example. Yeah, good
Yeah.
example. Yeah. So what is the crux out of this thing is like many organizations just they try to import the tools. So tools and ceremony only is the flavor. When that flavor is getting implemented, transformation normally fail because people are still with old mindset. Tools and frameworks will not, or tools and ceremony will not change their mindset, and that's the one of the reason that transformation normally fails. Good start. So now I really want to understand who is really responsible when agile doesn't deliver the results.
Yeah, this is kind of a tricky question, I would say,
Yes.
because failure, responsible towards failure is very big thing, not only in professional life, but also in personal life.
Personal
But
life also.
yeah, so but responsibility, I would say, mostly it happens with respect to the leadership. So because when we talk about agile, especially agile, so what happens is we try to make the team members to undergo a lot of certifications, a lot of workshops, and try them understand. Uh, try them understand what is the transformation we are going to do. But most of them don't understand about the certification or from the workshop what exactly we are going to be part of this particular transformation. So let's say a person who is a QA or a developer who is mostly focused on bringing the value or the quality, maintaining the quality of the application, or developing the application in such a way that whatever the requirements are provided by the product owners. So this is the major basic funda which everyone will use, like developers, testers, everyone. They focus on their own work basically. But when the transformation comes into picture, so they have to not only do their work, but they have to follow certain process. When they need to follow certain process, they should basically understand the actual value of it. Without
Mm.
understanding it, if we start doing it right, it might become a failure again.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that's where from the leadership, they mostly instead of mostly focus on the velocity, they should focus on the value, the outcome. So what exactly we are bringing the shift.
Mm.
So that's where they have to make sure that the team members are encouraged and trusted. Again, it will root back to the agile principles which we have. The trust and the honesty, all this will play a major role. It will be very beneficial, it will, if it comes from the leadership rather than the middle management who generally try to make the transformation. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah. So the thing is, leadership also need to be coached on agile practices. Then the middle manager. So the approach should be top down. If you try to change the engineer side of it or the QA side of it, yeah, the resistance will come. The more it will be more difficult. So if leadership start following the agile principles and practices, naturally the team will follow. Now. I've seen many people who talk very nicely about agile everywhere and all that, but in private or inside the organization, they are
Mm.
still stick to the old mindset of waterfall or something. Why does such things happen?
Yeah, that's one of the great question. I think it happens in most of the teams and organizations, because when we see about this kind of example, especially what I feel is we mostly focus on deliverables. So as an organization or as a manager, as a delivery manager or as a leader, right? I mostly focus on the deliverable, what I'm
Correct.
going to do on the customer. But when it comes to the process, what I'm following, it is kind of a that is not in parallel. Basically, most of the times it is not in parallel. Let's say we have a backlog and we started our sprint, and we are in between the sprint. We are going to develop some kind of enhancement, or but there is something which we need to deliver very very instantly. So that
Correct.
is the main thing leader will focus on. So we have to make sure that is delivered, not about the current backlog or the sprint backlog which we are doing. So that's where when we start saying no to the customers, which we have to prioritize accordingly. Then I think a proper shift might happen.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
Rightly mentioned. Yeah. See, the thing is still many leaders, many managers, still focused on the deliverable. So I've happened to work with one person. His whole funda is get it code and finish it. Okay.
Yeah.
So that might solve one problem, but it's opening a lot of problems around it. People
Correct.
are always under the pressure. People are missing the whole essence of agility. Okay.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
coding and fixing something is can be good at one point of time, but it's not. So that's the problem here. They can talk big, they can use all the jargons, buzzwords in public, but they have to practice what they preach. Now, moving ahead. So now let's you worked as a Scrum Master also. Now let's
Yeah.
focus on Scrum Master. Why do or how can a Scrum Master avoid becoming a scapegoat during the transformation? Normally, what
Mm.
happens? They hire Scrum Masters. They come up with some experience or good experience, bad experience, no experience, whatever it may be. They come inside the organization. They try to fix something. The
Yeah.
things doesn't work, and then they become the
Mm.
scapegoat. So why?
Correct. Correct. I would say, in my experience, right, what I can say is, as a Scrum Master, we have to think about what value we have brought to the application instead of how the metrics is looking. So let's say our leader is asking, how is your burn down looking? How is your velocity looking? We can provide a good velocity. We can even provide a good burn down. That is possible with the tool.
Correct.
It's not so
Mm.
tough as a Scrum Master. But if you see, from the last 6 months, how the product was with the customer, and now how the product is with the customer, that cultural difference is the main thing Scrum Master has to focus on. Yeah, Scrum Master have another responsibilities where, make sure that the ceremonies are followed, the backlog is refined, all this is part of the Scrum Master role. But if the Scrum Master not to become a scapegoat, as coming to your question directly, then Scrum Master has to focus on the shift what he bought, the value what he bought with the help of the team, to make sure the customers are so satisfied with this process, with this person, instead of how it was in the last 6 months or 3 months. So I think that's one of the straightforward answer I can give.
Absolutely. No, you're spot
Yeah.
on. It's a very good, actually. So instead of focusing on matrices and the
Yeah.
ceremonies and the process and all that, showcase the outcome that you bringing through all these things. you know. So
Yeah.
if you really want to understand what is difference between output and outcome, connect
Yeah.
with me, connect with Raghavendra. We will help you to learn about it more about how can you become more outcome based Scrum Master. Uh, that is the aim for you in 2026 now. Uh, Now, what are signs shows that agile transformation is already failing? Any signs? Any?
Okay.
Hmm.
This is one of, very very typical question, I would say. Yeah, we sometimes, see that it is failing, but we don't act on it. Most of the times, it happens with many people. When we try to see the prioritization, for example, let me take an example of prioritization.
Correct.
We are forcing the product owners or developers to focus on what we have to develop, rather than, um, how the how currently the application is behaving, right? So let's say the performance of the application is not good, so we gave our application for the performance tester to do some kind of performance testing. He come up with the result saying, this has to be improved, otherwise, might be in future there is a possibility of a crashing incident which might happen on the application. But we don't focus on it. We focus only on the enhancement. We focus only on what new we can give to the customers. So then, obviously, we are failing in one way. One more thing I would say is retrospectives. So retrospectives, right? The main intent of retrospectives is basically to have a kind of a connect. So what we did not do well, and also, yeah, celebrating the achievements, which is important thing. At the
Correct.
same time, we focus on what did not go well, and whatever action items we have it on the sticky notes, but we don't take any kind of action on them. And that is one thing. One more thing is, again, coming into the ceremonies part. So we try to force the team to participate in the ceremonies, but it's kind of going into a waterfall with daily stand up. That's all.
Mhm.
There is no shift happening over there. So we have to focus on improving the team every day, like inspect and adapt, which comes into picture here. I think, yeah,
Correct.
that's one of
Absolutely.
the thing I would say.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So inspect and adapt, many organization, many Scrum Master, many Agile coach only keep it in books. They
Right.
do not do actually in the implementation. So
Yeah.
whatever you happening on the floor in your office, in your teams, inspect it, push or encourage the betterment, encourage the change, and then observe how things are or adopt the change slowly. Great, good. Now, how should professionals protect their career in field transformation? Because we are also
Mm.
looking at this aspect of how it is impacting on your career. So how
Correct.
can someone protect their careers?
Mm, yeah, protect their careers is something which is like applicable to everyone, including everyone who is working as a software engineer or anywhere.
Mm.
Uh, I think, as a Scrum Master, as a product owner, as a leader, I would say we have a lot of tools available in the market. We have a lot of methodologies available in the market. When we stick on to particular methodology, right? So they are built on some kind of fundamental aspects which is created in the
Correct.
by some of the great people, I would say.
Correct.
So let's say Agile, because we are discussing on Agile, right? Let me take that
Mm.
example. So we have four values, the core values of
Correct.
Agile.
Core
If we
values. Yeah.
try to understand more about those core four values, there is no need of framework, I would say. Sometimes, not all the time, sometimes we can create our own framework. We can try to make a very good shift. So that's where every person has to start thinking. When anyone is put on into one kind of methodology, instead of only focusing on their work, they have to understand what is this methodology, why we are taking this methodology. Then only we can actually do a great work rather than doing good work, I would say. And we have to start, anyway, AI is coming into picture everywhere.
Correct.
So we
Correct.
have to start utilizing the AI, where it will help us to transform into current state to a very good state, or in a great state what we want to go. Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, very key things here. See how Raghavendra has nicely connected two, extreme things. One is fundamentals, basic, and the AI. Okay,
Correct.
so fundamentals, if fundamentals are strong and you're using AI wisely, you can save your career for sure. Now, coming on to our last question, Raghavendra.
Okay.
Now, let's say if you could start or
Mhm.
restart one transformation,
Yeah.
how you will do it differently?
Okay. Yeah. So if I let's say my transformation happened multiple times, I would say,
Correct.
switching from one role to other role, which is kind of a very very big challenge, I would say. Sometimes, uh, if I take my current role, right, as a technical product owner, it is so different than how I was working as a Scrum Master, because I
Absolutely.
worked in scaled agile framework as well. Now currently we are working on it. So I was acting as a RTE in one or two meetings where I can see the lot of shift in myself, because playing a role of RTE is very different than playing a role of technical product owner in a Scrum of Scrum meeting. That's very different. So I would say, um, instead of focusing on only one thing, like following the process, we should be parallelly working together. Like we have to engage the team to understand what framework we are using, make them understand with your work how this will help to make the framework utilized in a proper way and achieve the things in a better way. So that's where, let's say our velocity is last 6 months velocity is so great, but the kind of enhancements or the kind of new functionalities which we have given in the application is not making any difference to the customer. That is the pain point we have to focus on. Yeah. So working very hard and smart and implementing or taking the help of the framework or a methodology will help a shift to happen, I would say. And
Perfect. Very
on
nice.
top of it, collaboration. So when we make the team members to understand the value and the culture instead of focusing on the metrics and the velocity, then the shift happens, in my view. That is my view. Yeah.
Perfect. Very nice. So, too many lessons to take away, too many takeaways from this discussion. Really enjoyed this discussion with Raghavendra today. So, once again, from the entire audience of Agile Exploration Hub, I would like to say thank you to Raghavendra for being such a wonderful speaker.
Thank you, Nageshi, for giving the opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you once again, and see you in the next episode, guys. So, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and bye bye.